Hi, all, Ahmed here from Recruitable University, and welcome back to the recruitment program. So we went through we're on the sixth module, the last module, which is the operational side of the business. We went through payroll and the different sort of lessons on payroll when it comes to invoicing, remittances, timesheets, and all the different sort of how to make the payments using umbrella companies, using finance factoring companies. Now we're moving over to back office. So we're looking at the admin side of things, the different sort of tasks that you will do when it comes to back office, or even allocating these different tasks to staff members. So the first one of them being data entry. It's very, very important that you are constantly doing data entry, that you have at least a time in the day where you allocate it specifically and solely for data entry. If you are doing this yourself, I would recommend doing this in hours where you're not trying to get hold of clients or candidates. So whether early hours in the morning or late in the evenings, where you can just focus and dedicate it on admin time. You don't want to use that precious hours during the day where you can close deals and get hold of clients, that you're wasting time doing data entry. So if you are doing data entry yourself, it's important that you do it sort of times where you're not it doesn't get in the way of you making deals. And data entry is very important, that you go on different websites. So as we said before, you can go on Google and just type in, let's just say NHS Jobs. NHS is, of course, the biggest healthcare provider in the UK. So if you go on NHS Jobs, you will find a list of jobs available in GP surgeries over here. So we just typed in GP surgeries, and we've got 3,822 jobs found in general practices. So if we go on the first one, we've got Hey, Ahmed here. I hope you're finding value in this video. If you need any free advice or help with your recruitment agency, or you're thinking of starting your own agency but have some questions, feel free to join our weekly Q&A. You may have seen some clips from it on my page. I'll post a link in my Telegram community, which is completely free to join. I don't even need your email or phone number, and I'll personally be there to answer any of your questions. The link is down below for those of you who are interested. Now let's get back to the video. A GP surgery receptionist that is needed. They're paying £11.44 an hour, and the closing date is the 8th of July. So if we click on this vacancy over here, we've got potential data that we can add to our database. So we've got Jodie Byrne, and one at nhs.net. You've got her contact number. You've got the practice details. You've got the postcode of the practice as well. So this one here, I think they're called the Oaks Medical Center. So what you want to do is you want to have a tab, for example, where you can just type in the data that you found online. So this is what I would normally do. The client name will be the Oaks Medical Center. So just copy this into your Excel sheet. So it doesn't have to be anything fancy. If you don't have a CRM, it's not the end of the world. You can use an Excel sheet. Excel will absolutely work fine. And so you've got the Oaks Medical Center, and then to get the email address is over here somewhere. So it's just a case of copy and paste this into the Excel sheet. Then you've got the client contact name. So who's the point of contact over here? I believe we said it was Jodie. Okay, we've got Jodie over here. So just copy and paste this. And the postcode must be over here somewhere. We've got B74. And the contact details over here somewhere. There we go. So this is an easy and a quick way of building your database. So now we've just done one, and it just took us literally a couple of minutes to find one contact over here. So we can go back and go on the next one. They're looking for a receptionist in Southall Medical Center, and then you've got a GP surgery receptionist. So there clearly seems to be a shortage of receptionists and administrators in the GP practices. And you've got over here again, senior receptionist, admin GP, operation manager, temporary. So this is temporary cover. So they will definitely look, it's looking like they will definitely take a recruitment agency. And the rest of these generally are salaried posts. So if you can find a GP, for example, for Bloomsbury surgery, let's have a look over here. So the closing date is the 4th of July. They are looking for a GP, and they're willing to pay 11.5 grand, almost to 12 grand a session. So a session is generally half a day. So for every half a day, they will pay 12 grand, let's say, to the GP. So if we get our calculators out and just to give, so just to see how much potentially you can make from this deal, and if you was to find them a candidate, they look at sort of 12,000 per session. And some surgeries will say to you, I'm looking for 6 sessions a week, which means 3 days a week. So if they're looking for 6 sessions, and the annual salary here, it's 72,000 per annum for 3 days a week. And if you agree a finder's fee of 20%, which is industry standard, by the way, you will earn a finder's fee of £14,400 for finding a GP for them for this practice. And this is very, very normal. It's not something that's insane or unheard of to charge about between sort of anything between £10,000 to £25,000 for finding a GP for a general practice. And they are willing to pay, and because they do struggle to find GPs in GP practices. That's why you've got hundreds of jobs out here. If we continue looking, you've got medical receptionists, you've got again another salary GP, they're looking for another GP. So you can see there's a huge shortage of GPs, senior GPs needed. And if you do get into this field, it's a white collar field. So the finder's fees are going to be quite high, and it's a very lucrative market. So data entry is something that you should be doing on a daily basis. Give yourself a target of at least trying to find 50 clients a day. So if you do 50 clients a day, and as this client over here literally took us a minute. So if you spend an hour and a half to 2 hours a day trying to upload at least 50 clients on the data on the Excel sheet, so you have 50 a day times that by, if you work at least 5 days a week doing this, that's 250 new clients a week, times that by 4, that is 1,000 clients a month. So within 6 months, you should have a database of at least 6,000 clients on your books. So you can imagine, of the 6,000, I'm sure you're not going to be working with every single one of them, but if you send an email out to those 6,000 and at least, let's just say, 50 of them respond to your email, giving you vacancies, giving you work, and of the 50, you manage to fill, let's say, half or even just 10% of that, of the 50, and you manage to, even if you manage to fill 5 to 10 um, 5 to 10 clients, that's still a massive deal. As we said, it's about £14,000 per deal that you can make on a permanent side of things. So it's very, very important that you constantly are uploading candidate clients onto your database. And that will move us over to the next one, which is database management. So now once you have, and presuming that you've got a CRM, and there's a couple of ways you can do this. You can manually upload, so do it one by one. So and it depends what CRM you're using. If you are using, for example, this one I use over here is Eclipse. And so it doesn't have the option of uploading my Excel sheet that I've collated. So let's say you've collated an Excel sheet of 100 to 400 or 500 clients. Some CRMs will allow you to upload that CSV file, which is the Excel sheet, the file, onto the CRM directly, which then uploads it onto your database, and which is really, really handy. But some CRMs like Eclipse over here it doesn't have that feature, so you will either have to upload it manually yourself, or you have to contact them, and they do generally charge you an extra fee for that. So that is database management. It's important that you constantly have, at least if you're not able to do it, you don't have the time, you're working full time, for example, you're doing this sort of on the side, at least hire an outsource, and we'll go into outsourcing shortly, someone to do this task. And if you are able to do it and you do have the time and the capacity yourself, it's important that you at least allocate an hour or two a day and try to aim for the 50 client mark per day. And so if we move over to vacancy management, so how to manage your vacancies. So whenever you find a vacancy online, it's important that you have some sort of tracking system where you can share with your team if you're part of a team, or doing it yourself if you are working alone. So what I will do, for example, is over here, medical receptionist, 27 hours a week is needed in the what areas is in the Herefordshire area, in Hereford area. So it's a HR1 postcode. So what I would do is go on to an Excel sheet and just have a tab where I have all the vacancies of the client. So I have two tabs. So where we have one, the clients who are looking for staff. So over here, I would put in Cantal Cantaloupe surgery, medical receptionist. They're looking for 27 hours a week. I'll copy paste the address. I'll copy paste the contact details of the person. So when I'm looking for what to work on, I've got an Excel sheet in front of me. If I ever have a candidate, for example, in Hereford, and I'm speaking to a candidate who says I'm a receptionist, I'm in the Hereford area, I will just go on to my Excel sheet. I will filter it over here at the top and just search by, for example, Hereford, and it will list up all the candidates in the Hereford area, and I could just directly contact those people who applied for work, or sorry, or I can contact all the clients who posted their vacancies online. So it's a quite an effective way of working, is having a management system where you've upload all your vacancies onto an Excel sheet, and then you can share this Excel sheet. You can make it a shared sheet, so the rest of the team can also see what vacancies you guys have, and you can just even write here status. That's what we do sometimes. So we can say, so this is filled. So then it saves the time of the other consultants, or you can say pending, not worked on, currently working. So the other recruiters will know what to work on, what is still outstanding, and what is filled. And so we move over to the CV uploads. So what I tend to use is the the CRM system, which allows us to upload CVs. So you've got a couple of ways of sort of uploading CVs. You can once you speak to your candidates, first thing you should do is every candidate you speak to, you should be trying to get their CVs from them. So there's a couple of ways you can get the CVs that we mentioned in the previous modules. Yeah, there's something called a mass mail shot, where you just constantly mail shot in your candidates in order to get and sending them enticing roles and enticing vacancies to get their CVs. Other ways is, once you are cold calling your candidates, you're making sure that you're following up every single call with an email saying to them, it was lovely speaking to you on the phone earlier today. Please, could you forward me a copy of your CV so we can go forward and find you work in the desired areas, or for the for your desired job role that and that you are looking for. And then what that will do is you'll just have your details in their inbox, and 9 out of 10 times they will send you a CV. And if they don't send you a CV, you can always follow up. And it's important that we mentioned before, following up with every single candidate that you speak to, every email that you send. Make sure that there is a follow-up, that you are diarising and you're putting everything into your planner so that you are not losing out on anything. So CV uploads is very important, that you have a team, or whether you have the time yourself. So these sort of tasks, I would highly recommend, if you are doing these tasks yourself, that you don't take it doesn't take much of your day, especially during the working hours between 9 to 5 p.m., when you can get hold of clients, when you can get hold of candidates, that you're not wasting too much time on the admin side of things. These admin tasks can be done in the evenings, can be done in the morning, can be done really any time of the day. There is no specific time that it needs to be done by. Okay, afterwards we've got, so now we've done the CV upload side of things, then we move over to compliance. So again, compliance, it's very important that that you are following all the right procedures and legislations, of course. For what you don't want to do is, you don't want to send out any candidates to your clients, to any positions, without having all the necessary checks done and accordingly. So this is mainly for temp recruitment. Of course, if you're doing perm recruitment, then the liability will fall on the client who have hired the candidate, they will do their own checks, they will do their own DBS checks, they will do their own right to work checks, etc. But if you are a contracting agency, for example, where you're sending cleaners out to schools, or you're sending out teachers to schools or nurseries, you have to do the right compliance, and one of them would be DBS. It's very important that you are doing the DBS checks. So DBS checks will look, there's so many different companies that you can use. I'll recommend a company called YouCheck. So if you go over here, so we've got YouCheck over here. So this is what they do. YouCheck is a DBS company. They will do all the DBS checks for you. You can just contact them, and I believe they charge you a small fee for joining up with them. And then once you do join up, they give you access to your own platform, your own portal, which will then look something like this. So you click on check a new applicant. Once you go to the new applicant, what I like about YouCheck, it's very easy and straightforward. So for example, the applicant name, email address. So we've got Joe at gmail.com. So let's say Joe is our candidate. Now, his first name is Joe, surname is Blogs, and his mobile number is 079442233. Just put any sort of digits, and it will gives you the option. So what is it that we're going for? So it's, some clients will say to you, we need an enhanced DBS done within the last 2 years. If your candidate doesn't have one, if your candidate does not have a DBS, then you can go on the YouCheck and get this done. So you can select enhanced, which would cost you £53.70, for example, and then it gives you the option, charge the applicant for the check. So yes or no. So if you are going to charge the applicant, and the applicant will pay for this themselves, so you just click yes, and then they will get an email saying, and the company ABC Recruitment has applied for a DBS on your behalf, and here is a link of £53.70 that you've got to pay. Once they make that payment, then you'll get a notification saying your candidate has paid, and you can follow the next steps. And if you're not charging your candidates, then you just click no, and it will charge you. So then you will get the link directly to yourself, and you will make a payment. And once the payment is done, it will tell you to follow the next steps. So this here, it does quite a few different things. So you've got a disclosure and borrowing service. You can even get the right to work. It will do the identity check for you. If you want a credit history check on somebody, it costs you £6.20. They'll do a credit history check on someone. So yeah, this is a very important tool, and it's quite handy to have when it comes to doing all your compliance. Similar to what I said before on the other points that we made, compliance can be done anytime, so you shouldn't again waste much of your time during a day where you should be on the phones and trying to close deals. So this can be done, all the back office, you can just do it in your own time, late nights and the evenings or early mornings. I hope you benefited, and I will see you on the next one.